Philip, congrats on a clean kill on the military parade story, you and your co-author tonight. I have to say, I've watched a lot of the subsequent coverage of it on cable tonight. I heard one White House correspondent say she was there in Paris and was amazed that the parade on 14 Juillet, on Bastille Day, kept the president's attention, she said, for hours, something that's very rare. I heard a former general kind of gently asking if the president may not know how and that our military history differs from France. The president may not know that military parades should not be the stuff of a superpower. Did you pick up reaction along the way from the Pentagon? I know you interviewed at least one historian.
Yeah, you know, Brian, first of all, the president truly was dazzled by that parade in France and talked about it to his aides in private on the flight home on Air Force One and in the weeks that followed. And indeed, 2 months after that parade, when he sat down with President Macron of France at the United Nations General Assembly, said he was so struck by that parade, America's going to have to one-up France and do its own parade. But to your broader point about the dynamic here, I picked up some concern in the Pentagon, frankly, that the military officials there would like to not see this parade happen. This is not usual activity. There have been some instances in history, including John F. Kennedy's inaugural parade in 1961, where military equipment was used. But for the most part, throughout the Cold War, America did not display its arsenal on the streets the way Moscow did in the Red Square, and that was deliberate. There was a consensus within the American government that doing so was unnecessary for the leading superpower, that everyone knew we had a strong military. We don't have to waste money and time showing it off. And there are some legitimate concerns at the Pentagon, including about the cost that this would endure. It could be potentially tens of millions of dollars. It's unclear where that money would come from. It's not been appropriated in the budget. And then there are very practical concerns, like how do you transport these huge tanks from bases around the country to Washington, and then if they're going to rumble down Pennsylvania Avenue, they're going to destroy the asphalt, and the city's going to have to repave those roads potentially.
I heard a former general tonight say you have to decide which tanks to take out of the tank line in Fort Stewart, Georgia, and spiff them up and get them parade ready. They're not built for parades. So, Shannon, I also heard it noted tonight that we've got thousands of troops in the field and at least 2 war zones that have not received a visit from the president. He has an interesting relationship with the military.
He loves his generals. I mean, I guess this parade shouldn't come as a surprise to any of us. When I was reading Phil's story, I know, Phil, you were talking about the cost there. That was one of the things that struck me, because I was traveling with the president that day when he went to the Pentagon to have this meeting, and he got out of the motorcade and you know, took a few minutes to talk to the reporters about how bad a shutdown would be, because we were on the brink of the shutdown that day, this January 18th day at the Pentagon, and talking about support for our troops and our military and how underfunded it is and how a shutdown would hurt the military. And maybe as a business reporter, I think of too much in dollars and cents, but the first thing that came to my mind when I saw your story, Phil, was, wow, that is going to cost a lot of money, and that's what he was